Welcome to Flavor of the Week, brought to you in part by Bandito's Mexican Restaurant, fresh made daily. Bishop Kevin C. Rhoades joins us for a special mashup between the Kyle Hyman Show and his show, Truth in Charity with Bishop Rhoades, which is celebrating its 100th episode.
Welcome back to Truth in Charity, and welcome back to part 2 of our Flavor of the Week with Bishop Rhoades. And we're trying some breakfast items. We've had the blueberry on topping on waffles, and now we're going to try some pecan pancakes. What do you usually have for breakfast, Bishop?
Usually a bowl of cereal, or I just don't have it. I know you're supposed to. It's the most important meal of the day, but
that's what they say.
It depends on, if I'm not hungry, I just don't eat it. Thank you, Miriam. Oh, wow. That looks good. Are they pecans or walnuts?
Pecans.
Oh, okay. They look like walnuts.
Apparently.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. But I always have 2 cups of coffee in the morning. That's always.
That's a given.
Yeah, it's a given.
Do you just make it in a coffee maker, or do you?
Yeah, one of the Keurig machines.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's try this out. How often do you get recognized in public places, like a grocery store or a restaurant or a shoe store or a licensed branch?
I'd say pretty often.
Does it ever get annoying? People
No, I mean, I'm not annoyed. It's just that sometimes I'm on a tight schedule.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to buy something. And if I get stopped, could make me late for something. So that's the only thing. Yeah.
Do people want to take pictures with you? Or
No,
ask
usually
you a
that
question?
there. No. No, that's usually at parishes, but not when I'm out. Rarely would that happen. Yeah. But I do my own grocery shopping. So, and I kind of like that. I mean, it's a little diversion. Can pick things that I want.
How often? Is it like a weekly?
When I need it, when the refrigerator is empty. Yeah, I don't have any set time. And I don't even have a set place. It's just if I'm driving and I see a supermarket, I'll pull over and get something.
And you live by yourself. There's no other priests with you. And
Right. I live at the St. Mary's Parish Rectory by myself.
Okay. All right. Well, have you tried the pecan pancake here yet?
No, let me get a mouthful here.
I'm a couple bites in, and I find it delicious. There's not really a breakfast item that I don't like, though.
It is very good.
But you said waffles over pancakes.
I like them both.
Well, we've been playing some highlights, and one of my favorite times is when we've had the young people on, and there's a couple examples of this. We had actually some young people that came here into the studio and recorded with us. Also, we had some recordings from St. Elizabeth Ann Seton School and the St. Joseph campus of Mishawaka Catholic. And so I thought we'd maybe play a few clips from those kind of question and answers with the young people.
What is your favorite thing to do in your job as bishop?
Oh, Ellen, I enjoy being bishop a lot, but I'd say really ordaining. Celebrating the sacrament of holy orders, it brings so much joy to be God's instrument and in making new priests or new deacons, for that matter. There's so many things I enjoy. I enjoy being out in the parishes, celebrating all the sacraments, but I would say ordination is definitely on the top of my list.
My name is Olivia Davis. I'm in 5th grade, and my question is, what is the Vatican City in Rome?
Thank you, Olivia. Well, the Vatican was the name of the hill in Rome even before St. Peter ever got there. And on that hill that was called Vaticanus, in Latin, Vatican, there was a cemetery. There was also what's called a circus. That's a kind of like an arena, and was called the Circus of Nero, right next to the cemetery. And that was a bad emperor named Nero, Roman emperor. Well, anyhow, when St. Peter came to Rome, he was crucified. He was martyred, crucified upside down in the Circus of Nero, and then taken to be buried in that cemetery called the Vatican. So it was only in later centuries that the the big church, the Basilica of St. Peter, was built at the Vatican when they leveled the hill, and they built the church over St. Peter's tomb. And then later then that whole area became the property of the church, and it became an independent country that is called Vatican City.
Is that cemetery still there?
Well, yes, that's under St. Peter's Basilica. They've done excavations, and you can see tombs that predate St. Peter, early pagan tombs, and then also Christian tombs from the time of St. Peter, because Christians wanted to be buried near him. So you can go, and you have to get special pass to go in and see the excavations. Really interesting under St. Peter's Basilica. And even in some of those tombs, these are like rooms that they would build. It's called a necropolis, a city of the dead. Oh. And there's still artwork in that, frescoes that you can still see in those tombs from back in the 1st century.
Hi, I'm Pete Allen, and my grade is 3rd grade. And my questions are that, is it nervous to be in front of all that people? And, do you remember everything you say?
Oh, thank you, Pete. You know what? I don't get nervous in front of all the people. When I was in high school, I would get nervous sometimes in public speaking. But I think by the time I got to college and all that, I kind of overcame that nervousness. So now I'm not nervous at all in front of a lot of people. But Pete, also you asked if I remember everything I say, in homilies and stuff. No, I remember. I think sometimes I forget, but but I remember some. Yeah, I usually remember the important points.
Do you usually memorize your homilies, or do you write them ahead of time and read them, or kind of deliver some off the cuff? Or
it depends.
Okay.
Sometimes I have a written text, but when I do have a written text, I'm not bound to it. I have it in front of me. It kind of gives me some extra confidence so I don't get off track. Other times I don't use a text at all, or sometimes I'll just have a few key talking points like an outline. It often depends on the congregation and the type of mass it is. Let's say I'm doing a big Chrism Mass or something, I'll have a text. I want that to, But other times, if I'm having masses at some of our schools and that, I know well what I want to say, but I don't have a written text.
Do you get nervous if you're addressing the bishops at a USCCB conference?
That's good. I probably would. Yeah. I think a little nervous. The hardest group to preach to are your peers.
Right.
I mean, even from early on, when I had to give a talk or preach to priests, that would probably bring a little anxiety. And I think I'd have some of that too, a little bit, when I get up to my brother bishops, yeah.
My name is Elizabeth Gill. I am in 5th grade, and I go to St. Joseph Parish. My question is, how old were you when you first thought about becoming a priest?
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. I think I was about 12 years old. I remember I was in 7th grade, and that was the year that I received the sacrament of confirmation. And it was shortly after I was confirmed that the idea came to me that maybe God was calling me to give my life to him as a priest, to serve the church as a priest. So it's never too early to think about your vocation. For me, it was 7th grade.
Hi, I am Michael McCarthy, and I am in 1st grade. And my first question is, why did they kill Jesus?
Oh, that's a very good question, Michael. There were really 2 reasons. The religious leaders at the time didn't like Jesus. They didn't believe that he was the Son of God. And so they were very angry at him. And they accused him of a sin that we call blasphemy, because Jesus was claiming equality with God. But of course, Jesus is God. So that was one reason. So they wanted him killed. But they also didn't have the power to put him to death. They had to go to the Roman authorities, to Pontius Pilate. And Pontius Pilate washed his hands and said, and condemned Jesus to death, not really for religious reasons, but more for political reasons. He said that Jesus claimed to be king of the Jews. Mm-hmm. And so those were the two main reasons that they killed Jesus. They hated him, and yet Jesus loved them. And so that's the reason. Thanks, Michael.
Michael also has a follow-up question to that.
My second question is, why did Jesus forgive our sins?
You know why? Because he loves us so much. When we're sorry for our sins, he always forgives us. And really, mercy and forgiveness, that's part of love. You know, Michael, if someone hurts you and then they're sorry, and you love that person, so you forgive them. And that's the same thing. Jesus loves us and forgives us.
So again, that was from our visit from some of our youth, and then also the St. Nicholas episode. And it's just so fun. The kids have such great questions.
Yeah, no, it was great. I enjoyed listening to that again.
Yeah, well, what do you think of the pecan pancakes here?
I'm getting full. They were very good.
Halfway there to the finish line.
Oh my goodness. So Kyle, are we going to go out for a run after this to run off these calories?
Yeah, we can play some tennis.
Okay.
I'm horrible at tennis, so.
Oh, good.
All right. Well, speaking of St. Nicholas Day, we had a really probably the story that stands out to me the most in the past 99 episodes of Truth and Charity. We had a story about St. Nicholas that I will never forget, and it's such an amazing story. People are going to have to stick around for it. It's going to come up with our next breakfast flavor. And if you have any questions for Bishop, or your kids have any questions for Bishop, you can go to redeemerradio.com/askbishop. You can call or text the Holy Cross College text line at 260-436-9598. And it could be answered on a future episode of Truth and Charity with Bishop Rhoades, brought to you in part by Notre Dame Federal Credit Union.